Hello, pre-algebra students. Mr. Lawrence here with you, part 2 of your review. Hopefully this one won't be quite as long, but reviews tend to be longer. So hopefully you're watching these parts and helping you study. First thing we're going to do is we're going to compare and contrast the whole numbers and the integers. I know I still promised you the estimating square roots, and don't worry, I'll get to that in a minute. Compare and contrast the whole numbers and the integers. All right, well, let's see here. This would be the wrong way to do it. Some of you are going to want to do it this way, and this is incorrect. Please do not do this. Whole numbers, yikes, that doesn't look like a very good line, does it? Okay, that's a much better line. And then we have our integers, and again, this is the wrong way to do it. Do not do this, okay? Whole numbers go 0, 1, 2, on forever. No fractions. No decimals. Okay, and then the integers, they go like this, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and again, no fractions. No decimals. Well, this is wrong because it doesn't compare and contrast. All I did was define the whole numbers and the integers. Do not do this. You will not get credit for doing that. If you're going to do some type of chart, I strongly recommend you do it like this. Compare. And remember, compare is to tell what's the same, and then contrast, I will tell what is different. So, for the compare, I'll say both the whole numbers and integers include all these numbers, 0, 1, 2, on forever. Okay? Neither has fractions nor decimals. And that's everything they have in common. You could also put that they're both subsets of the real numbers. That would be a great answer too. Okay, the contrast is that the integers, I'm not sure what that symbol is. Let me redraw it. Having a little airliner trouble today. The integers include negatives like -2, -1. Okay, but the whole numbers do not include any negatives. And there is your compare contrast. Compare, I told what's the same about them. Contrast, I told what is different. If you just simply list definitions when you're told to compare and contrast, you won't get full credit. You probably won't get very much credit at all. All right, so that's compare and contrast. I'd be prepared to compare and contrast any of these number systems, rational, irrational, natural and whole, etc., etc. Okay, let's get on to estimating square roots. All right, now you notice up here I've put some squares up here. 1 squared, we know that's 1. And 2 squared is 4. And 3 squared is 9. And 4 squared is 16. And see, you should be able to do this on your test. All you have to do is write down 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, etc. And then if you're not sure of your multiplication facts, you can just use your calculator to write them down. Now, why do I do this? because I need to figure out the square root of 21. And I look, the square root of 21, which two green numbers would it fit between? Oh, right there, it would fit between 16 and 25. So I'm going to give myself a little room here, and I'm going to put 16, and then 17, 18, 19, 20, and then 21, because that's the problem I'm doing, and then 22, 23, 24, and 25. And I'm going to take the square root of all of these. I'm not actually going to take the square root of all of them, but I'm going to find the square roots of the two endpoints, meaning the 16 and 25, the perfect squares. And then I'm going to use my knowledge of medians to help me estimate square roots. So I'll draw a little number line here. And I know that the square root of 16 is 4. And I know the square root of 25 is 5. So my answer is going to be a decimal between 4 and 5. All right, now let me see if I can find the median of these guys. And they're not spaced out perfectly, but I think this will work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 of them, so I need to go in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is going to be the median, and I know that that's where 4.5 would be included. Now look at this. The square root of 21 has to be just a smidgen more than 4.5, just a tiny little bit more. So because it has to be just a little bit more than 4.5, I'm not going to put 4.5 for my estimate. I'm going to say that the square root of 21 is approximately equal to 4 6/10. Okay, if you put 4.5, it's not a bad estimate, but when I know it has to be just a little bit more, I probably, like if I were doing this for a paper for a college class or a high school class, I would probably put like 4.55 or something like that. But 4 6/10 works, especially for pre-algebra class. Now check this out. I've got the square root of 21 typed into Google, and there it is, 4.582575694996. But you see, my estimation of 4 6/10 is only off by 2 pennies, actually less than 2 pennies, 0.02. All right, so that should be getting pretty easy for you by now. I know it was a little confusing at first. I'm going to have you try to do the square root of 59 on your own. And then you can check back with me and see what I get. So go ahead and do that. See if you can figure out the square root of 59. Okay, hopefully you figured it out on your own, but let's see my solution. First, I'm going to find the two perfect squares that 59 falls between. It looks like it goes between 49 and 64. So I'm going to list 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64. Yikes, that took forever. And I want them to be the square roots of those numbers. So I'm going to put square root symbols around all of them. And did I mention that I love my smartboard? And here's why. Let's see, can I do it? Oh, no, hold on 1 second. I'm just going to use my infinite cloner, but I'm not going to make you watch all this, so when you open your eyes, you will see they're all there. Okay, so there they are, abracadabra. And now I am going to mark the square roots I know. 49 is 7. Square root of 64 is 8. And I'm going to find the median. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If you heard an extra noise in there, just disregard it. My daughter is watching some sand people attack Luke Skywalker. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so there is the median right there in the middle between 57 and 56. So this would be the decimal 7.5. Now, I'm going to find the median of the first half. Why the first, of the second half? Because I'm looking for the square root of 59. And it's in the second half of the data. I could go and find the median over on the first half, but I don't really need to know it, so I'm not going to waste my time doing it. So let's see, if there were 8 numbers on this side, then the median of the second half must be after the fourth term, which would be here. All right, and so we will have 7 75/100ths, or 7 3/4. Now, it's looking like 59 is almost exactly in between these guys. And so I'm thinking that the square root of 59, a good estimation for it, will be somewhere around 7 6/10, or maybe even 7 7/10. And since it's not exactly in the middle, I'm going to go ahead and push it up a little bit, and I'm going to say 7 7/10. And so let's see, let's go here and get out of draw mode and change this to 59. And let's see what Google tells us. And look at that, 7.68. And I said it'd be about 7.6 or 7.7, which again, I went with 7.7. It's about 2 pennies off. If you put 7.6, I would give full credit for that. All right. Now, there's one more type of problem we need to talk about in review, and that is when we have a square with an area and we're trying to find the sides of it, right? So that doesn't look like a square. Let me see if I can make it look more squarish. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And I'm going to tell you the area of this is 196 inches squared. How big is the side? Well, I don't know, right? So I'll tell you what, I'll call it x. And if one side is x on a square, then the other side is also x. Now, I recall from my 7th grade years that the area of a square can be found by multiplying the base times the height. And in this case, the base and height are both x. And the area we know is 196 inches squared. And I'm going to simplify this. 196 equals x squared. X times x equals x squared. And I'll take the square root of each side, and that will undo the square for me, and I will get 14. So my answer is x equals 14 inches. There you go. All you need to do is take the square root of the given area if the shape is a square. Now, I do want to warn you, and then I'm going to wrap this video up, that the number one reason kids don't get higher scores on tests is because they don't do what's expected of them. Read the question carefully. If it says identify a mistake, make sure you state what the mistake is. If it explain your answer, then you need to explain. Now, you can explain using math. There's nothing wrong with showing your work as an explanation. But make sure you're explaining your answer thoroughly. All right, that's it. Good luck on tomorrow's test. Remember to do your best because you deserve to do your best. Mr. Lawrence signing off. Good night, everybody. Yeah.